Oh my gosh, I can't believe we're live. I can't believe we're finally live after all this time. I'm just gonna wait for people to start pouring in, but it is a Monday night and February 10th, right? 2020. And after months of not live streaming, I'm back. And thanks to a bunch of people, and you know who you are, who've been just so encouraging and just like, also just like, when are you gonna do the live streams again? When are you if you are a new follower, if this is your first time on here, we've been doing these live streams for like the whole like last year. Since April, we've been doing these live streams every weekday night, and with, you know, exceptions obviously, but it was like an ongoing thing. We were doing these for like an hour every night, and I was having guests on, and it was fun. But then I don't know, I stopped doing it like in November when I went home to visit my family, and then I kind of got in my head about it, and I was like, oh, what am I doing with my life? Why am I doing these? And then I stopped doing it. But it was but sometimes you have to spend a little bit of time away from things that you really enjoy and love doing in order to appreciate it for what it is. And sometimes, and I realized that doing these live streams was the thing that really made me excited in the mornings, and I loved it so much. And yeah, it's a little bit, Fart Magnet says, I deleted Twitter in November, then just reinstalled it today. That's amazing. You knew deep down, you knew that I would be doing these live streams again, and you knew that we'd be back. It's great. You had a telepathic feeling. So it's a little bit. I feel a little bit self-conscious doing this again. Just in general, I've always been awkward in front of camera, and the live streams really helped me get over a lot of that awkwardness. But like, since there's been a gap since I did a live stream, it just feels like I still feel a little bit awkward. Like, oh no, what if I screw up? And this is going straight to Twitter also, you know, YouTube and Twitter. If you're on Twitter, go over to my YouTube page, because that's where I also do the vlogs. But anyway, I was watching the Oscars last night, like probably not a lot of you, but I was watching the Oscars last night, and I felt like having a lot of feelings about this Joaquin Phoenix speech, and I was like, I feel like talking about it. Someone is on Twitch asking since when I had Twitch. I've had Twitch this whole time, it just doesn't always work, so now it works, and now I'm like using it. Also, I realized that these live streams are kind of like, it's kind of, for a lot of people, it's not really about the content, it's just about having someone in your living room, kind of like, it's like the idea of it that's getting a lot of people to watch anyway. So hello, thanks for joining in. Maybe I'll share my YouTube, because YouTube is fun too, so I'll share my YouTube link. So anybody on Twitter who wants to come over on YouTube, that's our favorite part. All right. Share to Twitter. Hello. If you watched Joaquin Phoenix's live stream live on YouTube, all right. Okay. I actually really liked Joaquin Phoenix's speech, and it's funny because like before I went to watch the Oscars, I went to watch it at my friend's place. Hey Joe, hey crew. It's so nice to see the people who are here, like, here for me the whole year last year, and I know who you are, and you know who you are. it feels so amazing to see you back, like right away. Like first night I turn it on and you're here, and it's like having a family. It's like family. Like they just don't go. Like they're here, and it's amazing. Anyway, so sorry, I'm eating dried mango and it's like getting stuck in my teeth, and I really like it. But anyway, before I went to watch the Oscars at my friend's place, I was like having chicken for dinner, and it was really weird. Like while I was eating chicken, I was like, oh my gosh, like this chicken looks so real. Like it looks like I can imagine when this chicken was like actually like alive while I'm eating this. And I don't know why I was thinking about it. I was just in a weird mood, like just one of those days while, you know, just thinking about my chicken. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, and I know this is like way of life, and I don't plan to give up meat anytime soon, or like meat products or chicken. I love steak. Like I can't live without it, and I love it a lot. But like sometimes I think about this and I think like we're really like monsters from the perspective of an animal. We're predators. We are, I mean, by definition of the way that the food cycle is working, we're the predators. We're going after animals and we're eating them, which is fine. It's part of the way of life. But it's so important for humanity, for the sake, for our own sakes, for the sakes of our ability to feel empathy. It's so important for our futures, for us to think about it, to just be a little bit more aware of what it is that we're doing. We are eating another species, another type of animal, because we're more powerful than them. We can, and we're eating them in order to survive. It's crazy if you think about it from, if you really like get into it, and that's what I have been doing a lot and I keep doing, it feels like it feels a little bit, if you get too much in your head about it, which you shouldn't, but like you kind of start to feel like a monster, like a cannibal. Anyways, you shouldn't feel like that, but you should be aware of it, and you should try to don't block out those feelings completely, because they're important. And feelings of empathy and compassion, those are human feelings, and those are feelings that you'll need in other places. Just because we eat animals and they're fine, just because it's okay for us to eat beef, steak, like chicken, I don't know, fish, just because these animals were created for us to consume, it doesn't mean that we can just disregard any sort of humanity towards them. They're still animals. We could have been them. You could have been an animal. You could have come onto this planet as another animal. And try to think of it in that way. They deserve compassion. They deserve to be killed in a compassionate manner. That's why, even though I'm not religious anymore, that's why I really respect kosher laws. And I know there are a lot of other, a lot of, not just kosher eaters, but a lot of people try to eat and kill animals in a humane fashion. But that's why I really like it, because just because you do eat animals, it doesn't mean that you can eat them however way you want. It doesn't mean that you can eat an animal while it's still living or breathing. It doesn't mean that you can kill an animal in a way that is painful, that doesn't mean that you should just treat animals with disrespect and cause them to suffer while they're alive, because they're still living creatures. If you believe in God, they're still God's living creatures. There's still the universe's living creatures. And like, so much of that gets like thrown out. Like, so much of that sentiment gets thrown out because now there's like the battle between the vegans and the vegetarians and the carnivores. And it shouldn't be like that. We shouldn't throw out human compassion. No matter who you are, no matter if you're vegan or, an animal eater, they deserve your compassion nonetheless. So, just think about it. Think about it in that way. I wouldn't, I'll play the Joaquin Phoenix speech for you that he gave at the Oscars. I really loved it, even though I'm assuming he's vegan. The way he talks about it, I'm assuming he doesn't even drink cow's milk, which is like, I mean, to me it's like, why wouldn't I drink a cow's milk? I mean, in fact, it's helping the cow to milk the cow. Like, you're like, why wouldn't you milk a cow? I mean, I've never been pregnant or lactated or anything, but if you talk to moms who lactate, like, they need to pump their milk out in order for it to not be painful. Like, why wouldn't you use a cow's milk? So that's that's just one aspect of his speech that I was just like, eh. But in general, I like the idea of it. Anyways, let me play it for you. Oh, and then there's another thing that I loved about his speech that I'll play for you. All right. Okay. Let's get this a little bigger. Do you think this is too big? Can you see this?
Some of the distressing issues that we are facing collectively. And I think at times we feel, or we're made to feel, that we champion different causes. But for me, I see commonality. I think whether we're talking about gender inequality or racism or queer rights or indigenous rights or animal rights, we're talking about the fight against injustice. We're talking about the fight against the belief that one nation, one people, one race, one gender, or one species has the right to dominate, control, and use and exploit another with impunity. I think that we've become very disconnected from the natural world, and many of us, what we're guilty of is an egocentric worldview, the belief that we're the center of the universe. We go into the natural world and we plunder it for its resources. We feel entitled to artificially inseminate a cow, and when she gives birth, we steal her baby, even though her cries of anguish are unmistakable. And then we take her milk that's intended for a calf and we put it in our coffee and our cereal. And I think we fear the idea of personal change because we think that we have to sacrifice something to give something up. But human beings at our best are so inventive and creative and ingenious. And I think that when we use love and compassion as our guiding principles, we can create, develop, and implement systems of change that are beneficial.
1 second. You know what I love? I love that he didn't make this political. I love that he didn't say, like, Republicans are like this and Democrats are like that and Bernie bros are like, they're like, I love that he didn't make this political, and I love that he didn't come out and like attack people, which is what I feel like the Oscars have been so much of lately, just coming out and attacking people, especially very political and like virtue signaling. And I don't, a lot of people felt like he virtue signaled in this speech by giving a speech all about animals. I personally don't feel like he virtue signaled. I mean, he still talked about, like, there has to be some way to talk about a cause that you care about, and he talked about it, but it didn't seem like virtue signaling to me. He even points a finger at himself, as you'll see later. He points a finger at himself, saying, like, I'm guilty of this too, and like, I receive compassion, and if someone who, like me, who makes so many stupid mistakes, whatever, can get compassion, then you are deserving of it too, and like, we should all be more like compassionate. I really like the way, I like his tone, and I feel like I hope other people learn from him, especially at like an award ceremony like this. Here, let me show you. Hey, Jim. Oh my gosh, it makes me feel so happy. Hey, Nate, this is so funny. It makes me feel so happy to see my live stream family back. All right.
To all sentient beings and to the environment. Now, I've been a scoundrel in my life. I've been selfish. I've been cruel at times, hard to work with, and ungrateful. But so many of you in this room have given me a second chance. And I think that's when we're at our best. When we support each other, not when we cancel each other out for past mistakes, but when we help each other to grow, when we educate each other, when we guide each other towards redemption. That is the best of humanity.
Sorry, I'm eating my mango. It's really good. Okay, so this is another thing I like. He talks about cancel culture. He's so right. Like, what the heck is cancel culture? Cancel culture is like so predominant right now in Hollywood, and this idea of like, oh my gosh, this person, and it's not just Hollywood now, it's like the whole media, as everybody who is here on any type of social media is aware of by now. Like, you said something in high school on Twitter that was racist or sexist or just immature or stupid. Oh my gosh, this morning I was just thinking about all the shitty things I've said and done in the past, and still do, not even so long ago, but like kind of recently, that all the shitty, stupid things that I've said and did and thought, and how it could haunt me for the rest of my life. And it's such a terrifying feeling, and it's so awful that we as a society have become this way. This whole cancel culture, like, oh my gosh, like this person, it's not even about like judging whether people are good or bad anymore. Our culture is so obsessed with just destroying people because of like some sort of competitiveness that we have. It makes us happy to see other people's downfall. It makes us happy to watch the news and see like this person getting crushed and their whole career and their life is getting destroyed and their marriage falls apart and they end up in jail. Like, that's like, it's so sad that's become like our entertainment, the thing that makes us happy to watch. And it's sad. It's sad because like, if that was you, obviously you wouldn't want that. And it's also means that we've lost a little bit of our humanity, because being human means being able to feel other people's feelings, to feel on behalf of other people. But if you can't do that, then you're not really acting like a human. So anyway, and obviously I'm not like, I think actually the thing I love about the people watching this, my followers and my viewers, you guys have been the farthest thing from cancel culture. Cancel culture is mostly, I feel like it's so mainstream. When I say we, I don't mean you guys, because I've been really lucky. People always ask me, like, so officially, sorry, I'm getting, whenever, I love doing these live streams because, like, whenever I do live stream, I get the most distracted, but on my phone. But people always ask me about, like, my political beliefs, and in my personal life, I wouldn't describe myself as a conservative or right wing, especially not now. The older I get, the less like I feel like the less I care. But also I just kind of do whatever I want. But I still have always maintained a mostly right-leaning audience online, and I think I really like that. I think the reason for that is that the right has been, and I feel like the right has been a little more, the right has so many problems, but I feel like the right has been a little more accepting of me. Like, has always just been, the cancel culture doesn't feel as strong. So, and I just want everyone to be like this, to just be more forgiving with the way that we talk, to just, this person said something stupid 100 years ago when they were in college. Let's not try to destroy their entire life and career over it. So that's like a comfort that I always felt like I had with my followers and my viewers, that you've always been very, like, forgiving with me, and very, yeah. Anyways, comments on my shirt, on my tank top. It says Cali girl. I don't even know if I got this from California. I probably did. I think I got it from California. Anyways, someone is saying it's not, someone is saying it's not, Jim says it's not a left wing or right wing, but doing the right thing. I agree. It is doing the right thing. And it's not, Le Plerome says it's not an ideological thing. It's true, it's not an ideological thing. Le Plerome says the right is weaker and less assertive. That's true. People who tend, because being right-wing is less of, like, mainstream, it's less mainstream, so people who are right-wing tend, especially in cities where I live in, which are mostly blue cities, like big blue cities, they tend to be the minority, so they tend to, like, they're kind of forced to be more, like, accepting of, like, whatever you say if you're a different belief. But anyways, my point is not to say who's good and who's bad. My point is just, like, sometimes like, it's just nice to be around people who won't judge you for the things that you said or did in the past. And I wish there were more people like Joaquin Phoenix up on that stage who appreciated that. And I know that there have been recently more people in Hollywood that are, like, waking up to the fact that the mainstream culture is just, the mainstream, like, Hollywood / academic / like, just mainstream culture is just so, like, judgy, has become so judgy, and cancel culture, like, is such a big thing. Anyways, all right. Felix says, I'm so sick of the left good, right, bad dichotomy. I shouldn't be comparing them either. And it's also so blurred. Like, if you had a conversation with somebody and you didn't bring up any like hot button topics like right or left, you actually in many cases would not know if they're on the right or left. Like, there are so many times when like I've talked to someone and I felt like I connected with them on such a human level, and everything we talked about was like everything we talked about was like on the same wavelength. Like, we just believed in all the same things and agreed with all the same things. And then later on I found out that like they were like politically like, oh my gosh, like totally not what I expected. So it's really hard to tell nowadays, and it would be really nice if, as Americans, as humans, as like, you know, we can connect to people on a more core level. Anyways, Nate says, do you know what we need to do for peace? Do shrooms and listen to Bjork music. That's funny. Okay. I like Bjork. If you guys don't know, Bjork is a Icelandic singer. All right, let's finish watching this.
I want to when he was 17, my brother wrote this lyric. He said, "Run to the rescue with love, and peace will follow." Thank you.
That was so nice. That was so nice. I love Joaquin Phoenix. And it didn't seem fake. Like, it actually seemed really real. And I don't think that anything he said was controversial, honestly. Like, everything he said was just on such a pure, like, just a human level. He was not talking politically. And people were trying to make it, like, political, like, oh my gosh, like, guess what? He's a lefty now because he has compassion for animals. That's what makes him a lefty. Like, no, it's what makes him a human. Like, you don't have to be like him in order to show compassion for animals, but you can still have those feelings. You don't have to, like, not drink cow's milk. I wouldn't stop drinking cow's milk. I mean, that's, like, the stupidest thing ever. But, like, you don't have to do that in order to have his feelings and to just learn, just, like, compassion. So, anyways, I thought that was really nice. I loved Joker movie, so that adds to my bias. Like, I'm so happy that, like, which award did that win? Anyways, I'm happy that it got due credit. And, alright, that's it. That's all I want to talk about. I want to talk about Joaquin Phoenix and how much I love him. And, alright. Any questions before we leave? Any suggestions, everybody? This live stream, this first live stream back after a very long time of not doing live streams. Any requests? I'm gonna read some of your comments. Felix says, Felix says, I think that people have a problem with everything being an ideological platform. Just let things be things. I agree. 100%. Nate says I should bring Lila. Oh. I'm gonna tell her you said that, and I'll tell her to come back. Dove says, what are you up to? I have a video coming out, and it's like kind of like a little update. So hopefully it's good enough. Yeah. Active Samo says, great format, good to see you happy. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. It makes me happy to hear that a lot. It makes me really happy to hear that. I'm really lucky that the connection here is really good and that I can do this without like problems and this getting like cut off. Diacritical says the old clip from you and Lila was hilarious. Please bring her back. I'm gonna tell her. The clip of me falling asleep on the live stream. Joe is asking where's Steph. I'll tell her you asked. The Machu Picchu vlog. The Machu Picchu vlog is taking so long. I'm sorry, like it's taking so long. Jim says every time I see you, it's like seeing an old friend. Aw, you guys. People are making me feel like so good tonight. I'm so I knew I'd be happy doing this. I knew I'd be happy coming back. All right. Okay. Peru was awesome. Peru, for any of you who do not know, I was in Peru and I came back and I took part of my class, one of my classes I took in Peru, part of it. And it was great. I came back a couple weeks ago. Continued school, but it was great. I definitely recommend it if you want to go to South America. Anybody, go to Peru first, and to go to some of the other nearby countries. I really want to go check out the Galapagos Islands. Yeah. So, someone's complimenting my tweets. Thank you. Felix says, I wish I had a pet alpaca. If you want to see some pictures from my Peru trip, go over to my Instagram page, at Pardesella, Pardesseleh. I didn't have Kui. Kui, it's guinea pig. I was not brave enough, but I did have some alpaca, and it was actually pretty good. All right. Someone is asking if I'm still attending Johns Hopkins. Yes. Yes, sir. Daniel says the most beautiful audience is the Pardes audience. Positive, high-level thinkers. That's very true. Thank you, Daniel. That's really true. I do have very, very positive and very smart thinkers. I'm pretty lucky. Did I encounter any cannibals in the rainforest? Asks JF. No, but there was a lot of food. We had a lot of food. I think I even gained weight on that trip, even though it was like hiking for 4 days and outside. But we just brought the tour guides and that we went with, like, they had their people brought so much food, and so like it took us 4 days to get there, but we were eating like the whole time. It was just like walking. Blackwood says, I support your cause. Thank you. That really means a lot to me. I don't know what my cause is yet, but if you figure it out, tell me. And I want to support it. Someone is asking if I had pisco sours. Yes, I had pisco sours and I loved it, and I even brought some back with me. Dove says, by the way, Daniel, last live Pardes says if we want culture shirts, we should ask you. Yes, that's true. That's what I said. We should, yes. If you want a culture shirt like the one I had in my last video, I was wearing a culture shirt. If you want it, go over to Daniel Bostic and ask him for it. Daniel, if you are here, you can put it in the comments, like a link to the shirts. Otherwise, I'll just tweet it. All right. Okay. Any questions? Comments? Okay, I really don't want to leave, but I also don't want to like keep this live stream going for too long and getting, people are sleeping, Exxon says, is Daniel Bostic still your blog husband? Yes, sir. Felix says, where would you like to travel to next? Somewhere in Asia. Definitely want to travel somewhere in Asia. not China right now, but eventually at some point. Okay. Alright, everybody. It's good to see you. See you tomorrow night. I'm really excited to come back. And hit me up if you want me to talk about anything. You want to see any different types of videos. Just hit me up. Let me know. Drop in the comments. And see you all tomorrow. Bye.